When you get a soil test, the lab often recommends how much of a nutrient you need to add if you have any deficiencies. For macronutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, this is pretty easy to do. But with micronutrients, it can get a little more complicated because you have a very small amount you need to add over a large area. So for example, on my soil test, you can see I need to add 0.09 ounces of zinc per 1,000 square feet and 2.2 ounces of manganese per 1,000 square feet. I have a method that I use that I feel works pretty well. You have to be careful with certain methods because you risk applying too much in one area and causing toxicity, or not enough in another area and not really fixing your problem. I've heard some growers recommend that you can add this small amount of micronutrient to a larger batch of macronutrients, mix it up real good, and then spread it with a fertilizer spreader. That sounds good in theory, but the issue is if the particles are different sizes, they may sink down to the bottom or stay on top, and what may happen is you may actually not get as even of a distribution as you think. So this is what I do. First, just measure it out. This is a small container. I'm using this small container because I know I have a small amount to add. If I have a larger amount, I'll add it to a larger container. For the ones that require a larger amount, I then mix it up in a tiny little bucket, and I make sure to use extremely hot water, the hottest water I can, so that it dissolves really easy. And I just add a small amount at a time, and I mix it in with some chopsticks that I can just throw out when I'm done with them. So keep mixing, pouring, mixing and pouring until it gets full, and you'll notice that it'll have a cloudy appearance. After a few minutes, it'll settle down to a near transparent color. That's how you know it's dissolved all the way, or at least most of the way. If you don't let it dissolve all the way, the particles will end up getting stuck in your sprayer. So the things to help it dissolve better are 1, just give it time to settle out. 2, use really, really hot water. And 3, add more water if you need to. In the previous example, I was using manganese sulfate, which is a pinkish color, so you could see the final product still had a pinkish hue to it. This is boron, so it is white, so it goes nearly clear once it's completely dissolved. Once my solution is transparent and ready, I will pour it into the reservoir for my hose end sprayer. You can see there's not a lot of space to put liquid in, so I do have to repeat this multiple times. There are better systems out there that cost a little more money. This is what I use, and it works well for me, and it's $15 maybe. And the Ortho Dial N Spray, which is the product I use, has a pretty good warranty, which unfortunately I've had to use a few times, but they do honor their warranty, and I will put the link in the description for you if you decide you want to use this system. Now all you're going to do is spray the solution all across your patch. I make sure to use a very dilute solution, and on my Dial N Spray I can select how dilute of a solution I use. I use the 1 ounce per gallon spray rate. Anything higher I run out too quickly and I risk not spreading it out evenly. I find 1 ounce is enough where I'm not out there all day spraying it, but it also gives me a chance to get everything I need in a fairly quick manner. Be sure to shake it every once in a while because you don't want the particles to settle down on the bottom and have an uneven amount come up in your sprayer. Also, do not do this method if you have plants in the ground. I do not care what the concentration is when I'm doing it because it's just going in the soil and then getting tilled in. If you don't actually pay attention to the concentration you're using and it's too high of a concentration and you spray it on the plant, you could burn the plant. So just remember, this method is just for applying it to the soil when the plant isn't in the ground yet. This is when you're getting your soil ready in the spring before your plant gets planted. If you have a plant in the ground, don't spray the plant, or make sure you do some math to make sure it's not too strong that it'll damage your plant.